Hey everyone, thanks again for tuning into Sin's Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Alright, today we're going to be talking about Neon Darkness by Lauren Shippen. This is the second novel in her Bright Sessions series. You don't have to have read the first... Oh, what was that? You don't have to have read the first one in order to understand what's going on here. God knows I didn't, despite my best efforts. There's just, not enough time, and this book was a Book of the Month winner, so I really wanted to review it. I will start by saying that the novel was well written. Of that, there's no doubt. It was a well written novel. Sorry, my bangs are just driving me nuts right now. It was a well written novel. I did ultimately enjoy it. I have no regrets reading it. However, it was a frustrating read, and that really connects strongly to the the characterization and those character dynamics, to be perfectly honest. So the novel follows Rob. He is what they call an unnatural. Just think Legion, the X-Men TV show. That's kind of what this series has kind of been equated to, and I really do think it is a fair allusion to draw from. Now, he has this ability to impart his will on others. Sometimes he doesn't even realize he's doing it. So he spends much of his life, he's 18 now. He has spent a bulk of his life, probably the last decade of his life, alone. Because he told his parents to leave and not come back, and, well, they did. And he can get whatever the hell he wants. He just has to be like, I want this. You're not going to ask him questions. And they're like, okay, sir, no problem. He gets to stay in luxury hotels. He gets to stay in, sorry, my daughter's kicking up a storm right now. He gets to do whatever he wants. There are no consequences. Because he can just literally talk his way out of it. So he is alone. He is very much alone, and you really do pity him for that aspect, because he does go out along. He wants to form a connection, a genuine, real connection with other people, but he's always second-guessing himself. He's always wondering, well, do they like me, or do they like me because I want them to like me? Because how do you stop wanting things? Sometimes those thoughts, we can pass by a store, ooh, I want that dress. Or we are creatures that just want. Those thoughts of wanting just kind of come unbidden. They just are what they are. You really can't, you really can't control it. You see something you like and you want it, that thought does pop into your head, and that's very much how his power works. So it's perfectly natural for him to want things. Unfortunately for him, that means he doesn't get to be normal, ever. Because he's constantly, I want to know this. Even when he even just thinks, I want to know more about this person, and they tell him more than they would have ever done before, they get mad at him. And he's just like, I didn't mean to do it. Like, sorry. So you really understand kind of where Rob is coming from, and you really pity him. But when he meets the Unnaturals, Neon, Marley, and Indra, and Blaze, well, that's where everything just kind of starts to just blow up. They are also unnaturals. They have all different abilities, seeing someone's past, anything's on fire. electric tips, and one of them can just sense other unnaturals. That is the extent of their powers. Now, as for them, they can control it. They have more active control over their abilities. But, again, ask the question, how do you just stop wanting things? How do you stop that thought of, I want to know more, to come into your head, It just happens occasionally. And it happens a lot with Rob when he's with them. And this is what I really found frustrating with the novel. The unnaturals, they just like to criticize him half the time. They're like, you're 18, you need to be responsible for your actions. They're not wrong. You understand both sides of the argument, which is another reason why it's really frustrating. Because you're just like, I get where they're all coming from. They're both right, they're both wrong, because they don't really offer Rob any help other than chastising him. And I think we all know, like, if you want someone to break a habit, you have to do more than just yell at them, especially when you take advantage of his ability half the time. And that's where the hypocrisy comes in. Half the time, they're okay with the free groceries and the new apartment and the kind of luxury style life or getting them out of jail that he can do. Helping them find their missing friend, literally can do whatever he wants. Again, he can impart his will on others. But, they have no problem with that. They take advantage of it every turn that they can. They're not helping him. They're not offering him any guidance. Except that when he does use his power on them, sometimes it is intentional. I will say this. Sometimes it is intentional, so I get where their anger is coming from. But other times, actually more than half the time, it's not intentional. Because he really doesn't know how to control his ability. And he tells that to them. It's like the same freaking argument throughout the entire novel. I'm 18. I don't know how to control this power. You're 18. You're an adult. You need to learn control over your power. They offer him no guidance. I get it. All of their powers are different, but oh God, you just kind of feel bad for him because they're not offering him any guidance. And it's really frustrating because they make a lot of good points. Neon, Indra, and Marley, they are not wrong. They make a lot of good points. You are on their side some of the time, and then you're just like, well, then help him. Do more. If it bothers you so much, do more. Like, he tells you constantly he doesn't know how to control his power. And instead of helping him, you're just going to stand there and berate him. And to me personally, that was problematic because it didn't really fit. It was just kind of toxic. And that's another reason why I found this novel frustrating, because they are a found family. They made their own family because with one another, they don't have to hide, this very deep, intimate part of themselves, with their abilities. They don't have to hide it from one another. So they do form a really tight family. They do care about each other. That doesn't make them any less toxic for one another. And I really do feel like they are all in a toxic relationship with one another. I think Rob and Neon especially, they just need to leave everyone alone. I think Indra and Marley, I think they'll be fine without them. In fact, I think because Neon kind of calls all the shots, she doesn't really leave room for discussion. It's like, we're going to do this my way, and that's it. It's not a democracy. It's a monarchy. She's very bullheaded half the time. She likes to think she's the shit, and she is kind of the shit. I'm not going to lie. But when it comes to their little family, she's like the head matriarch, But I don't, Indra can do better. I don't think her and Indra should be in a relationship with one another. I think Indra should definitely 100% move on And I think she would be in a better place if she moved on. The same with Marley, too. I don't think... To me, they felt very toxic. Let me just say that. I did not... I was not a fan of their whole dynamic, their whole relationship. Especially because of how they treat Rob as well. You know, it's like, oh, when he uses his power for you guys, to benefit you, he does cross some lines. I will say that. He does cross some lines, especially near the end. But again, he crosses those lines to keep them safe. So you get where they're coming from. Yeah, he definitely crossed the line near the end. Definitely get where Neon and them are coming from. But you also understand his side of it as well, because there's this bad guy after them who wants to experiment them, and all Rob wants to do is keep them safe. It's just like, this guy's he's already found this 3 times. He's going to keep coming after us. And he does. So, he does cross a line, though, near the end. And it's just like, boom! Everything explodes at that point. But you know what? You get where all the characters are coming from. There's a lot of gray areas in there, but it just made it frustrating to read, because I'm just like, I'm on their side, but I'm also on your side, but they have a point, but you have a point. I'm like, it's like it tore me in half the time. But I do think that those relationships in the novel are kind of toxic, which also led to some of my frustration, because I'm like, I think you all just need to forget one another and move on. That was me when I was reading it. I don't think they were a healthy family dynamic, and I think Rob being there really highlighted it for them. But, you know, that's just me. So I have to give, it was well written though. Really good tension, really good rising tension, really good characterization, I guess. Those dynamics, though, I really do think it is a toxic relationship, a whole toxic dynamic that's going on, and that really bothered me. But, you know, I'll leave it up to you to decide. I'm never not going to recommend a book, especially one that was well written, especially if you like the Legion TV show, and if you like X-Men. I think you're really going to enjoy what Shippen is doing with her storytelling, because it does come off as unique. You know, it is not something I've read before. Yes, it's similar to Legion, but it's not Legion. It's its own thing entirely. But if you like Legion, and I like Legion, you're going to like this book, in my opinion. Lots of gray area, a lot of complex characters. I do think it is definitely worth the read. So I have to give it 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, 3 out of 5. If you want to go ahead and purchase the book, please remember to purchase the book from your local bookseller or online book retailer. Just because you don't have a bookstore in your neighborhood doesn't mean you can't continue to support bookstores. You can do bookshop.org, which will locate an indie bookstore closest to you and donate a percentage of your purchase to that bookstore. You can also order from barnesandnoble.com and booksamillion.com. Support your local bookstores, please. That's all I ask. I don't know about Books A Million, but I do know that Barnes & Noble does ship internationally. So, you know, please just support your booksellers in your local bookstores. That's all I ask. If money's tight, you can also get the book from your local library. If your library still has a lot of COVID restrictions, many of them are offering curbside pickup. You can also use your library card or get a digital library card off the website and download the Libby app, which is 100% free. You just need a library card, and you can get ebooks and audiobooks via the app. And there's also Scribd, which is $8.99 a month. They have a huge library. I guess it's for me, it's kind of like the Netflix of books. I guess you could equate it to that. Thousands of ebook titles, thousands of audiobook titles. I know for a fact this book is on Scribd as an audiobook. And on that note, I hope you all continue to support me by liking this video and sharing it with all your book-loving friends. You can also support me by becoming a subscriber. or on Buy Me a Coffee. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.